makes most sense to flip to Auburn. Better competition, better wide receivers, better O-line, better defense. War damn Eagle, war poor fam.
Better everything.
Yeah,
That's
just
pretty much
better
what he said.
everything all the way around. Listen,
LA is an
I
amazing
know
city, though. Just
I know that it makes a ton of sense from a fan standpoint. I don't know Juju Lewis even a little bit. And I don't know what his priorities are. And it's going to sound blasphemous to say. Makes a ton of sense to go to Colorado. It just does. You know you're going to be in a system where they're going to feature a quarterback that is going to be out there throwing the ball around. Shador threw for like 3,000 something yards last year, again, albeit on Pac-12 defenses, but he's going to be against Big 12 defenses. You know they're going to be in a quarterback-friendly system. And you know Dion is going to figure out how to get you a bag. So if that's what your priorities are, makes a ton of sense to go to Colorado. Now, does it make more football sense to go to Colorado? No. But I don't know what Juju Lewis's priorities are. So I can't assume that's where his head is. But I can see why he would land there. And he is guaranteed. I'm not so sold on the guarantee of starting spot, true freshman at Auburn. I think that what they will guarantee him is a chance to compete and a little kind of wink and a nudge of, yeah, you're going to compete, but it's, but you that dude's like, so I think that it likely lands that way, but they going to give him the job at Colorado, right? Like he ain't going to have to come in with none of that competition conversation even happening over there. So I could understand if that's where he lands. I'm not saying it makes more sense than Auburn from a football standpoint. I'm just saying I can see the path and how it gets there.
Yeah, look, I mean, every once in a while, my brother will ask me to play video games, and I don't really want to play, so I don't care if I win, so I'll play. And that's where he's at if he goes to Colorado. You don't really care about winning. I just got to play some football, so I'll go to Colorado.
Yeah,
right?
but
Like,
listen, if he's
every
gonna
once in a while, I'm not feeling competitive.
going to the
I do
league is
things
what
like that.
ultimately matters to him. Secure the bag while you're in college. Go to the league. As long as that offensive line improves.
Cool.
Shoot, the offensive line wasn't good. Shadur's going to the league probably after this.
he's going to the league.
So I'm saying, so it's like he just want to get to the league, fam. Like again,
Right.
that depends on where Juju Lewis is hit. I know we're trying to like impute our thoughts onto a 17-year-old kid. I'm not that presumptuous as I understand what's going on in the mind of a 17-year-old guy that everybody is after. Look at the Dante Moore situation last year. Everybody was after Dante Moore. And he went and took his butt up there to UCLA, and then he left because that wasn't a very good football decision. Why are you going to UCLA, bro? For Chip Kelly?
They all want to be here, man. They just don't know it, right? And that's Hugh Freeze's job to get them to know it, that they want. This is where you want to be if you want to do something great. If you want to be mediocre, if you want to win the Twitter wars, go to Colorado. They're doing that great.
Shador caught hell the back end of the season last year. He did not have the best protection.
No, that offensive line was terrible, which is why they went and got 40 kids from the transfer portal again this offseason.
Yeah. So the thing you're telling that kid is, there's no Cam in Colorado, and you're not going to be all that protected.
Again, from a football standpoint, you're getting zero argument from me from a football standpoint. You guys are making very great football arguments for this. You're assuming he gives a crap about that. That's an assumption you're making because I haven't talked to Juju Lewis. Never seen him. I don't know nothing about what he and his family are thinking about in their decision-making. From a football standpoint, makes all the sense in the world if he cares about that. I don't know. Again, me putting it out there is not saying I have some inside source that's telling me. I don't know none of that, bro. I don't know.
Well, if he goes there, then we'll know what he cares about.
Exactly. That's exactly what you will find out very quickly where his priorities lie.
Yeah.
And then he might learn from that and be like, yo, this was a terrible decision.
And then we get him out of the transfer portal.
Then SEC Mike gets his way. You get a QB out of the transfer portal.
Oh, the SEC Mike.
Let's see. Bo Hunter with another one here says, I just want to see a QB battle. Let's camp out there for a second. And I want to see who Juju Lewis brings with him. A QB
What
battle.
does that look like,
Well,
MQ?
Because again, I don't
I
what
don't
what are
know. Do
those?
we really
I
get a QB battle?
The
yeah,
quarterback
Bo,
battle is a mythological creature that exists in the land of Narnia. You have to go through the wardrobe into the land of Narnia, or beyond the looking glass, and you follow the rabbit down the hole, and he will introduce you to the QB battle. Because I don't think it's a real thing. I just don't.
yeah, I'm
Never
gonna
been
go ahead and
photographed
say
or
this.
videotaped anywhere close to
You, you
Auburn, Alabama.
you didn't get a QB battle last year. You're not gonna get one this year. And if Juju Lewis comes here, you're not gonna get one next year. So I understand this sentiment. I do, but to me, highly unlikely. It's just how the chips are falling for Auburn right now. He's gonna play. If he
Yeah.
comes here, he's gonna play. They're gonna find a way for him to play.
So I mean,
Yeah.
and this is I saw somebody say this, and because I wanted to, Justin Thomas, Juju ends up somewhere else. We're going all in on Walker White and refuse to get a portal QB again. Let's camp out right here, because another one I'll ask again says AU alum, is Walker White the next Garner? We want talent, or Holden Garner, excuse me. We want talent, but the QB is a different position, and you can't stack the position like you used to.
I
And
agree with
in that
that.
same vein, we're still there. Assume White is who we think he is. Will Juju be willing to redshirt, then sit a year till it's his turn? So let's camp out here for a second.
Who is Walker
And
White?
what the quarterback position? That's a very good question. What the quarterback position looks like right now. Of course, you know Peyton Thorne is gone. You know Holden Garner's got one foot out the door. So it's Hank Brown, Walker White, and then freshman Juju Lewis walks onto campus. What does that do? What does that say to you if you're Walker White? Because listen, it is June 19th, 2024, and we're having a conversation about the potential of a guy who has not yet played his senior season in high school coming in and being the heir apparent at Auburn. If you're Walker White, who just got here and everybody was so happy to have you here on campus, but now they're already having conversations about this other guy supplanting you. How do you feel about all of this? Do you feel like Auburn is still the place you want to be?
Yeah, I would say, because there's a question in here about whether if Juju comes, Walker has no chance. I like Walker White. I do. I really like Walker White. And the question Hugh Freeze will have to answer is, who puts me one step closer to where I'm trying to take this thing in years 3, 4, 5, 6? Right? Like, is it Walker White or is it Juju Lewis? So right now, where Walker is at in the pecking order, he probably is not going to see the field at quarterback this year.
Right.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
I'd put the
unlikely
probability so
scenario.
low it's not even worth talking about Walker White seeing the field this year. That's a disastrous
Yeah.
injury riddled season that sees him seeing the field.
So when you get to the spring, what does he have to do to overcome two guys who have seen the field some, but maybe haven't, but not a ton, and one who maybe hasn't played great when he's gotten in.
I mean, Holden Garner's
And
not in, so
You think Holden Gurn is going to be around spring 2025?
No.
No. I was speaking hypothetically, but like not really. So essentially, it comes down.
This is hypothetical. Say he's not here.
Yeah,
yeah.
So in this hypothetical situation, he's not there.
Yeah.
Walker White, Hank Brown.
Okay. So now it's just Hank.
What about Hank?
Walker.
You think Hank?
And well, we've talked about this on previous shows.
Yeah.
If Peyton Thorne finishes out the season and Hank doesn't see any real time on the field this year, is that going to be enough for him to hold off Walker White or another talented freshman? Is that experience going to trump what the upside of these other quarterbacks who may have more upside talent? That's the question that I have. So I'm not going to say no chance, because look, at the end of the day, obviously Julian Lewis is a talent, but man, I'm telling you, sometimes these guys get here and something just doesn't click right away. And if you're Hugh Freeze, you got to have a backup plan to be able to tell a kid, like, look, We gave you every opportunity to win the job, but here are the things that you're still not doing well. And if I put you on the field, I'm setting you up to fail. And if the kid that you're giving that message can see that clearly, when you put the tape on and you say, these are all the things that will get you eaten alive in this conference, and you got to work on them before anybody puts you out there. And he says, you know what? I agree, coach. I got to get back to work. Then you can hold. I think in that case, he'll be willing to redshirt if he feels like he got a real shot. But so many times they don't feel that way.
Right.
They don't agree with the coach's assessment. And so, like, I don't know. I'm not going to say that Walker has no chance if Julian Lewis comes here. I don't think that's fair. But like,
how much worse does Julian Lewis have to perform in the spring for that to even like? Because how are you going to feel it's a fair shot if a guy who got here after you did performs around the same level you did, but he gets the opportunity to start? Like, how bad does Julian Lewis have to be when he gets here in the spring for this to even be a conversation?
yeah, I think that is a question about how he's processing the game mentally, right? Like, is he picking things up? Is he, because you can make the throws, but but if you're not, if your mind is not up to game speed, you can know where you need to go with the ball, but you can throw the ball too late because you're not processing it fast enough.
Sure.
And that'll be the thing that will hold him back and keep him off the field. So if you're Hank, you've been in it. I'm sorry, if you're Walker, you've been in it for a year. You've had the time to catch up.
Right.
But if you're still having that struggle next spring, that's going to be really hard, because if you're Hugh Freeze, you have to start to make quicker decisions on a lot of these guys. Yes, we recruited you. Yes, we believe in your talent, but there is a timetable on you picking it up when I'm recruiting top 5 talent every year. Timetable's a lot shorter because we're always trying to bring somebody in that's better than you. And when we do, you have a say in whether that guy, gets the shot over you or not. So that's completely within Walker White's control.
Let me introduce another layer to why I asked the question, because we're seeing it right now with the Peyton Thorne scenario. Peyton Thorne's not drastically outperforming people in practice. He looks better, but it ain't like, but his experience is what they've been leaning on to say, we're going to give you the shot. If it comes to a spring and Juju Lewis is on par with everybody else. Now, again, these other guys, Walker White probably will have only taken like 20 snaps at that point. Like, I don't even know how often he sees the field, but you can't say it about Hank Brown. Hank Brown's already gotten a couple snaps. He likely is going to be QB2 going into the fall. So in garbage duty, he'll get some snaps again this year. How do you tell Hank Brown, hey, man, you did all right, and you've got more experience, and this kid isn't really outperforming you, but we're going to give him the job, when you just watched them not do that with a guy in front of you?
Yeah, you tell him, you have the real life conversation with Mike. You say, look, Hank, your NIL check is this big. And Juju's is this big.
Yeah, he's leaving, literally. Like, he will literally walk out of the door from that conversation and say, so which office do I go to fill out my transfer paperwork?
Because the money is going to matter there. I'm sorry. The money is going to matter there. This is a new era of college football.
How much you get this month?
Yeah, he's gonna be like, all right, coach, thank you. So just, can you put like the address in my GPS to go to the transfer portal office?
It's a tough conversation. It's a really tough conversation. So there again, a lot of factors. I think it factored in with Peyton Thorne.
There's a possibility. Someone put in the chat, it's a possibility, Hugh, if you get Juju, it's a possibility Hugh may have to go to the portal for a QB. Because there's a scenario where Hank actually leaves as well.
Maybe.
You're going to have to go to the portal to fill out your QB room, yes, but you're going to be picking up a bunch of what's the guy's name that everybody always used to try to make me like that I never liked? That was
oh my God,
Grant Loy.
Yeah, you're going to get a room full of Grant Loys if you're going to the portal and you've got a fresh, like, there's no way around that.
Yeah, I just think what this boils down to is if you're Walker White, the pressure is on you right now. You got to give it everything you got. This summer in fall camp, your reports should be flying around about how great he looks in whatever reps he gets in fall camp. You've got to really, really put yourself in position for the spring to say, I've jumped, whether these guys stay or not, I'm jumping them because they invested in me last year. And I've been here for a year and I know exactly what coach wants and I have all the tools to do it. I just think that his margin for error is a lot. The more Hugh Freeze recruits at a high level, the more everybody's margin for error shrinks. That's big time college football, though. That's not different at other programs. It's just as Auburn fans are not used to it here.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
there's only a handful that are used to it anywhere, right? But if you're at Alabama or if you're at Ohio State or you're any of these, or Texas, right? Think about it.
But none of those people are playing true freshman quarterbacks, though. Not a single one of them.
That's true. That's true. But my point was the guy who was on Ewers' ass was a true freshman. Kept it a discussion.
The fans were discussing that. Was Sark talking about that though? Sark wouldn't. It wasn't no debating Sarkisian's mind who started.
Well, you're not. If it was, we wouldn't know. All I can go on is what the public perception was at the time, right? I think that there was some pressure there because of what they invested in Manning, and they want to keep.
I'm not going to disagree with you there. There was probably some pressure, but again, how much pressure? I mean, I'm pretty sure his mind was made up on Ewers.
I can believe people were trying to talk him into it. I don't think he ever wavered for a minute to say Quinn Ewers was going to be my guy going into last season. Despite how much talk Quinn Ewers had done too well on the field. If Quinn Ewers had a Peyton Thorne year, maybe that conversation gets a lot louder. But he didn't. The only reason his numbers didn't look better is because he got hurt. That was not a real conversation.
Is this Ewers' second? Was that his second year starting?
That was his second year last year. Yeah.
The second year starting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
this will be his third coming up again this year. So yeah,
I just think you have to bring your A game every offseason.
Yeah, for sure,
and to hold off talent that's coming in, because if you're going to compete, those teams have multiple guys on their roster that can step in and play at a high level. That can take over, and if you don't have that in today's college football, you're one injury away from being Florida State last year.
Facts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Think about it. And they won them all until Georgia and still got left out. But you don't want to be in a Jordan Travis type situation. You want to be in a spot where the guy backing them up is just a tiny step below what you started, where it could have been a either or call in the offseason. Truly. We feel like we have. Remember this? We feel like we have two guys who can step in and play it. Hasn't been true for a long time, but maybe this is the start of that actually being a true statement.
Maybe. Do you think it's a situation where it's like a Trevor Lawrence situation where Juju doesn't start the season as QB1? But as the season goes on, there's an opportunity
the real thing
where he gets in there after getting his feet wet a little bit, and then they're able to do some things offensively.
The difference in the Trevor Lawrence situation was the guy who was starting, Kelly Bryant, I believe.
Yes,
right?
Kelly Bryant.
Yeah, he was an established winner.
Sure.
Yeah, he was an established player. I don't know about winner. He was at
well, I mean,
he was on the team. He came up through the system.
Listen, man, he won games while
he transferred. He was at Missouri at first. Kelly Bryant was a Missouri quarterback.
Auburn was trying to get
no. He
started two. Yeah, that's right. You're right.
Yeah. Sorry. So he was an established winner. Where they have not lost a lot of games with him. Now you can argue about how well he played, sure, but that's how much better I think that they thought Trevor Lawrence was than Kelly Bryant coming in. That it was maybe an inevitability in Dabo's mind that Trevor was going to play, but they got him some time in those first few games, and they found ways to fit him in, and then eventually he took over the job.
That's what I'm saying. Is that a situation where
Kelly Bryant didn't do a lot to lose that job? Yeah. So I think, and it was the right choice.
Sure. Obviously.
it was definitely the right
Yeah,
choice,
that
but
that the offense was not doing as like it was okay with Bryant at the helm.
yeah,
But it was
right. Yeah,
okay.
they weren't losing though. It wasn't like they were going on some losing streak and then he decided it was exactly what you're talking about. They were okay, but how many coaches have we seen? I will be comfortable with. Well, we won, so why would I make a change because he played well enough for us to win?
I think a lot of coaches would, depending upon how you need to win games as a program, right? Like, I don't think a coach like Sark would, right? Because
Sure.
he's used to high powered offenses. So if my offense is sputtering, he's like, yo, this ain't how this supposed to go.
And that's
I
that's
need to get
that's going to
somebody else to
limit
come
how he
in.
Okay, that's
calls
fair.
games.
That's
He's
fair.
he's
Yeah,
going to put his guy in. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Like we're winning, but our offense looks like shit. So
Yeah.
we're
And
taking you out. Yeah.
now that Clemson team, I think, they had a really good defense. They probably could have continued to sputter along and win games with Bryant, right, and been okay. But they knew we could supercharge this offense. So let's get the guy because they literally it was a plug and play situation where it was literally the quarterbacks that was the difference in the offense, right? Because you got the wide receivers that are out there that
Yeah.
were making ridiculous catches, and you just need to put it out there in the vicinity. Trevor Lawrence was willing to let it rip. You got the great running back. We just need to turn around and hand him off the ball. Got a decent enough offensive line, but Bryant wasn't as mobile as Trevor Lawrence proved to be. So it's like, yeah, it's really just take him out and put this other guy in. The offense starts to move the way that it's supposed to.
Yeah.
We're not. I'm very confident in the offensive talent at wide receiver right now for Auburn. Definitely confident in the running backs. The offensive line is still yet to be seen because a lot of inexperience going to be starting that next season. So is it going to be a matter of, to your question there, C, the offense isn't quite doing what you think it could do? Maybe we need to make a change at quarterback, and that's what's going to supercharge it. And we know we've got this guy who is highly touted. Let's just give him a shot and see what he's got.
Yeah, it's going to be an easier call for Hugh Freeze this year to do
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
because
everybody's going to be clamoring for it.
Because because the
And then
guy
there's that.
and it's the guy you recruited.
Yeah.
And it's the guy that you recruited. He's
Yeah.
your guy.
Yeah.
Now, B said this repeatedly about the starting job last year coming in. He said, Hugh Freeze is going to play his guy. Robbie's not his guy. These other guys aren't his guy. Holden's not his guy. It's going to be Thorne. And now you got two guys that are your guy, right? In Walker White and Juju, presumably, and Hank, who is Freeze's guy. So if I'm just picking from my guys, there's still a little bit of politics left in that because of NIL and some other things. But ultimately, I think it's going to be a lot easier decision for him to pull the trigger on something like that next year than it is, these first couple years.
100%. It's an easier decision to go to, the highly touted 5-star that you have sitting on the bench than it is to go to, 3-star, 4-star that's not ready true freshman this year. Again, and apologies to Holden and his family for me kind of excluding him from this conversation even for this season. I just don't think it's there for him right now.
Yeah, well, it's simple. He wasn't Hugh Freeze's guy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't.
It
The
wasn't
path
Hugh
to him
Freeze's
being
guy.
a starting quarterback, it just isn't there right now. So
like he's gonna play his guy. So I don't think that's necessarily an indictment on Holden because the system. He's not a mobile guy. He's not exactly a statue, but he's not a mobile guy.
Yeah.
And that system needs somebody who can move a little bit better than he moves. And it was always going to be an uphill battle when a coach like Hugh Freeze takes over a program for the incumbents. If you were here, it was going to be an extreme uphill battle for you.
Yeah.
Robbie got out of here.
Unless you was already a starter.
I was shocked.
Only way you can survive that if you was already a starter and you was producing. Then that
And you was a 2,500 yards. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
The coach will give you a look, but if you've been on the bench and the coach comes in, that's a tough.
It's gonna be hard.
Yeah.
Definitely a tough spot. All right, let's get over here to the comment section before we leave. Another super chat here from you. Assuming Peyton Thorne starts all year, how likely will we see White in a bowl game? This is a very interesting question, actually.
This is a really good question.
Let's just play out a scenario right here, and I'll let you answer because you seem like you have an answer ready. Auburn wins the what I consider to be an okay but acceptable 7-win season this year, right? And you go to a bowl. Do you and Peyton Thorne plays just okay. Do you even feel the need to play Peyton Thorne very much in that bowl game? Or do you say, hey, Peyton, go ahead and get an early start on your NFL, whatever, or your UFL
Yeah,
aspirations,
7-5. Yeah, it's UFL.
your UFL aspirations, and let us get the young guy in here and let him throw it around a little bit so we can see what we've got going into next season?
I think if you're Peyton, you want all the live game reps you can get.
You
Like,
want, I'm talking
yeah,
about what the
yeah.
coach wants. Give a damn about. Like, you ain't gonna be here no more after this game, bro.
I mean, look, does he owe it to Peyton?
Why? He gave him a whole 2 years to go out there and F it up.
Yeah, but the 7-5 doesn't mean that he effed it up.
Yeah, it would. I'm
That
sorry,
Peyton
bro.
effed it up? No,
I can't
no.
see 7-5 and Peyton Thorne played well.
Well, yeah, but I could see 7-5 and system issues. I could see 7-5 and like
Auburn
other
is
factors around him not doing
7-5,
well. Yeah,
that's a possibility. But if we're talking 7-5, I don't even know if we're talking about all this stuff, because that's a problem. If you're 7-5 because for 2 years in a row you got system issues.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm not ready to say, like, I thought there were system issues last year, and I thought Peyton Thorne could have played much better than he did
Well,
this year.
sure, yeah,
So
I agree. I agree with that. I'm just saying, like, I could see a scenario where it's like it's not
What's the
all effed up
probability for that?
with him 50-50. I'm not.
if we're at
I'm not.
50-50 on system issues again this season, bro, we have to start having a conversation about whether or not you're the right guy for the job
Yeah. Well,
at coach.
you fired your coordinators. Well, these are brand new coordinators. I'm not. I'm not
Running your
right now.
system.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't know. I have questions. I still have questions about it. So I think that if you're Peyton Thorne,
You don't owe
need
Peyton
you
Thorne a
need the bowl.
goddamn thing.
You need the bowl game,
You
and
don't
like
owe him
I
a
would be if I was him, I'd
goddamn
be pissed
thing.
if you benched me in a bowl
And I
game.
said
Like,
GOT for those of you who have issues with me. It was
Mhm.
got dang thing. You don't owe him nothing at that point in time. You gave him 2 years to figure it out. He was supposed to be your transition QB to get your system kicked off. If he goes out there and lays a dud, system be damned. No, you don't owe him a bowl game start too. No. No. I'm sorry, bro. If 14 games ain't enough, that 15th ain't gonna make it. No.
Who do you start?
That's what, Hank or Walt, whichever guy you want to try to give an early start on next season. That's the guy that you play. But nah,
yeah,
bro,
I doubt it's Walker. I doubt it's Walker. I think maybe you start Hank, and then if he doesn't play well, you go to Walker. I mean, listen, they got down to QB3 in last year's bowl game. I'm just assuming if you're doing that, it's going either extremely well or it's gone terribly wrong. Those are the only two scenarios I see where Walker White gets in there, because if Hank is playing well, you know, he's got to be playing. I mean, you got to be up big enough to justify pulling him, because even up big, man, if I'm Hank Brown, I don't want to give up any reps to Walker White. I have not played. I played in one college game. Once I start to cook, leave me in.
So is the
And we could be teammates, but you could cheer for me from the bench because it's my turn to play well. But I don't want to hear about you pulling me from a game. I don't care if we're up 80-0. I have played in one college game for like a quarter. You know, and if I'm going to have a real shot, I need to show as much as I can on the field.
Yeah.
And I'm adamant about this because I'm telling you, I think that's the only way that Hank wins the job for next year. He's got to get a chance to show enough actually in game in 2024 to take that into the offseason and, you know, and put on.
So
that.
really and truly, the first 4 games of the season are going to be critical from an offensive production, because you want to see Hank get an opportunity to get in there and get some of those in-game reps. The season gets tougher from there.
Yeah. If he earned the QB2 job, right? Presumably, you told me I was the second best quarterback on the team. You're not now jumping me for Walker White.
Sure.
What would Walker have done during the season to even warrant that? Except for I got my shot and I played poorly.
I'm with you.
Yeah, it's so
Uh,
that's the person who I think Coach Hugh Freeze would owe something to is like the guy who won the QB2 slot coming out of the fall.
2 jobs,
Yeah,
yeah. No,
but
if
yeah,
I want QB2, yeah, you're leaving me in, and, yeah, like, maybe if I s if
that
I
that
you
would
check with
that would
me
pretty
before you
much
told me after
again
the game.
that'd be a conversation that Walker White, I mean, excuse me, that Hank Brown would have to be like, all right, bro, like let me just transfer because if we're
Yeah,
in a
yeah, yeah. You
scenario
don't pull
where
me for a
anybody
game, yeah.
but me is starting in this bowl game and you're not gonna play Peyton Thorne, it better be me. Or bro, let me just again, I'm walking straight from wherever we had this bowl right over
I'm
to
on the phone with
yeah,
I'm
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
phone with
I'm sorry,
Liberty
yeah.
yeah, I'm
immediately.
stressing this when we're talking about Hank, we're saying if he won the QB2 job, he's already done enough, and
Yeah,
you owe him that.
for sure.
But because if you jump him for things not related to how Hank performed on the field, he didn't really have the QB2 job.
Factual.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it's got to be, for Hank, it's got to be about what happens on the field. And if he goes into the season QB2, and I think there's a good possibility he may, that you hold him there, man. And when the bowl game comes, if you're not starting Peyton Thorne, then you play Hank and you give him that chance, and everybody else has to earn it in the offseason.
Well,
I think that's the only thing that's really fair there.
yeah, I agree.
Like
Now
I don't.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. Let's see what else we got out here. Greg Wheatley is expressing excitement. Haven't been this excited about a season in a while. Glad to see some
You
excitement from
should
the fan
be.
base.
Let's go.
We're
Brad,
giving away tickets. We're giving away tickets all season, guys. So
for
if you
sure.
haven't been to an Auburn game, like dial in with us, man. We're gonna send two sets of tickets out for all 8 home games.
Yeah, we've this will be what, year 3 that we've done this.
Yeah, yeah. Like, listen, it's a great
Yes.
service to the community.
Yeah. Brad Browning says if you want to be a Heisman winning QB, there's an argument for playing for Riley. If you want to win a championship, Riley ain't the guy.
Well,
Well, I
that's
think that's
factual.
factual.
That's
B Will
factual.
would stand and applaud at that comment right there. Stephen Allen says Hank Brown and Walker White transfer if Juju comes in.
Mm.
I'm still not all the way there on this. I think
I
there's a
think it's a good
possibility
chance
one of the
Hank.
two.
I think it's a good chance Hank's transfer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because there is a
I don't know.
scenario where you start one guy and you give Juju time
Because
to
Hank is right there. Like
adjust.
Hank is
Right, yeah,
right there.
to adjust. And then and whether Juju plays or not will depend strongly on whoever gets the starting job, how well
Yeah,
they play to start
I
the
think
season.
spring will tell you a lot about this more than anything else.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
for sure. Yeah.
I think that both of those guys stick around through the spring.
Sure.
I just don't know how many last after the spring, depending upon what it's looking like in the distribution of reps and how well people are playing in the coach's eyes. You have those post-spring conversations
Yeah.
about where I am and what's the process. If it's not looking good for one of those two to be at least, because here's and also another feasible scenario. Let's say Juju Lewis gets the starting job and he doesn't play well. If you're the QB2 sitting behind him, you're just sitting there like, all right, young man, going out there. But if you mess up, it's my spot. So you might be okay with being QB2 in that scenario. Because
Yeah.
again, you have to look at if let's just say it's Hank Brown that's QB2 again that season, right? How many places are sitting around like, yeah, I definitely got to have Hank Brown as my guy on this team as the starter. He's going to have to go into a QB competition somewhere unless he goes down to a G5.
Which
just because
that's where he was
when
going. That's
Yeah,
again,
what
that's
he
what
was
his
going for,
prospects were out of high school. He might, on an outside chance, have maybe UAB that wants, because that was his high school coach that says, okay, well, you can
Sure.
come over here. But I think he'd still be in a you got to come compete for the job situation, depending on what UAB's quarterback situation is, right? So, like,
Yeah, we're assuming that Hank doesn't get enough time on the field to make himself a more attractive prospect
yes,
to
yes,
other programs.
this is all about, yeah,
And if these guys want to go to other SEC schools, they're going to have to get out of here before spring. Right?
Sure.
They're going to have to leave in the first transfer window. So, if you're Walker, you may still have some prospects. And do you want to go through spring with Auburn if you are not already getting the feeling that it's going to be, like these guys will get the vibe. And what I hope I know this. Hugh Freeze has to do what's in the best interest of the program. But what I hope is that if there's no chance that he's going to, if they've already given up on him mentally, but I hope that they don't hold him here because they're worried about numbers. Like, look, to give these
Yeah,
kids a chance to go play someplace else.
that
Like, I
that I
mean, I
think is a
just
low
don't wait.
probability. They're gonna try to, hey, we're gonna give you a shot.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, I hear you.
because how here again, here's the thing. If you want to have at least 4 scholarship quarterbacks, right? And you go again, let's play the scenario forward. Walker White and Hank Brown are your 2 scholarship QBs going into next season. Juju Lewis signs. Now you have 3. You need a 4th from somewhere, which means you go to the transfer portal to get him, or you take a guy that's currently on red shirt and you bump him up and give him a scholarly so you can have 4 scholarship quarterbacks. And that's who you have going into the spring. If you get out of spring and 2 of those guys feel like there's no path for me to get on the field here at Auburn, they're going to leave, and you got to go convince 2 guys from the portal to come sit on the bench. That ain't, listen, man, and you have to do that without having a ton of on-field success at Auburn to show that person of anything, right? Like Spencer Sanders going to Ole Miss was, I'm still baffled that that's where he ended up going when you have 1 year eligibility left and you knew, like, whoever was advising that kid, just stop. If you were the agent for Spencer Sanders that convinced him Ole Miss was the place he needed to go for his final year of eligibility, you should not be allowed to have any more clients. I'm sorry, like that just doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
but like how do you convince 2 guys from the portal to do that? Or does Sam Jackson have another year eligibility? Maybe you tell him, hey, go suit up. You're playing quarterback, backup quarterback next year. Like, I don't know.
I mean, you just go to group of 5 and pull a kid. I mean, that's
but are you going to get a group of 5 kid that wants to come sit on your bench?
You could. I don't know if the kid was tearing it up at a group of 5 that you're going after, but I mean, you could. I don't know.
Yeah, again, you're going to end up with a bunch of
Grant Lois.
I'm going to stop talking about him, but yeah, you're going to end up with a bunch of that.
It's going to be tough, man. It's going to be tough.
For full episodes, check out the Midweek Rapport, going live on the War Report's YouTube channel at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time Wednesday nights. Until the next time, War Eagle.